As you know, in the 2006 election, I lost my race here in Pennsylvania by the largest margin of any incumbent senator in 30 years. And 6 years later, I ran for President of the United States. Now, that doesn't happen, all right? And well, it could happen, but sure, no prospects of any success. And we had tremendous success, and we almost pulled it off. Won 11 states, 4 million votes, and we were really down to the final 2. After I left the campaign, Karen and I thought about what a blessing this campaign really was. I mean, and a miracle in many respects the campaign was. And we left with a gift, and the gift was notoriety. People across America knew who I was. And that is a gift. And the question is how to use it. Do you just monetize it, just make money? Or do you try to give back to God and country with the gift that you have? And we decided that obviously we had to earn income. I mean, we have 7 children, so you got to feed the kids. But we were trying to look for something that could do just that, serve God and country. And about 6 months after the campaign, someone came to me who I was working with on another business project. But I was sort of doing little things, just a whole bunch of different things. And he came to me with this investment that he had in this company called Echo Light Studios that was going to make faith and family films. And I said, well, that would be an interesting thing to do. Let me see how real they are. So it took me about 6, 7 months. I went from just interested to helping them, to being on the board, to being chairman of the board. And then once I got to be chairman, I didn't like the way it was being operated. And so I complained to the other board members and shareholders, and they said, great, why don't you run it? And I said, well, let's see. So it's in Dallas, Texas. So it's not geographically convenient, but it's something that I felt would be exactly what I was looking for, something where I could help the country and serve the kingdom. And so we said yes, and it's just been a whirlwind. And the biggest reason it's been a whirlwind is because of this film, the Christmas Candle. It was one of these things where it was a God incident. The producer of the film was looking for a distributor, and he had gone to all the studios. They were all interested, but wanted him to take it out next year because this was August. Christmas movie, you don't roll out a movie in 2.5 months. And they said, well, let's roll it out next year. For a lot of reasons, they couldn't. They had to get it out. They wanted to get it out this year. And so they saw that I was running this company now, and they said, well, there's a guy that shares our values. Maybe he can help us roll this out. So they came to us, and I said, sure. What did I know? I'd never done this before. Yeah, I can do a movie. Heck, I ran for president from nothing. I can certainly get a movie out in 2.5 months. That doesn't sound too hard. Well, it's hard, and it's been a lot of work and a lot of time on the road for me. But I believed in it. When I saw that film, I said, it was a very rough cut, no music and everything, but I just said, this is a beautiful film. This is a film about Christ and Christmas. This is a film about whether God is with us. And it was beautiful. It's shot in Victorian England, and it's just a bucolic village and all this kind of stuff. And so I said yes, and we are off and running, and I've been traveling around the country promoting the film, being on TV and radio, and because it is something the country needs. It's to remind us what Christmas is really all about, and this film does it beautifully. It's funny, it's inspiring, and it's full of faith.
Wow.
Well, it's funny. People say, well, how do someone from politics go into the media? Mm-hmm. We're already in the media. I mean, the talents that it takes to be a good politician or communicator, mm-hmm. The same talents that we tell stories. Mm-hmm. We communicate with that. We try to paint a picture for the folks that we're speaking to, and we try to move them in one way or another, emotionally and or factually, and so it was not hard for me to make the transition. I've always loved film. Avid movie watcher, and felt frustrated like everybody that the quality of the films that were being made by the Christian community were not good, and that the quality of the films being made by Hollywood were terrific but not good content. And so we needed to do good quality films with good content, and that's what we're going to try to do here. Oh, I knew Max before.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah, Max was a friend, and in fact we were working on another little project, as it turned out, when this one came to us, and Max didn't even know that the producer was coming to us, and I had just met with Max the week before on something completely different. And but I had heard about this movie that had been filmed, but I didn't know anything about it. And long story short, we ended up working. In fact, I was with Max a couple times this week. We were promoting the movie.
Good.
Yeah, they brought us the movie. It was in what they call rough cut, which is sort of an original cut of the movie. And I looked at it, and to tell you what kind of movie producer I am, I said there's 5 changes I wanted to make to the movie. And because the storyline didn't fit, there were certain things I didn't like that they did. And they agreed to 3 of them. I wish, the fourth one wasn't, but the last one, I really wish they'd changed, but they didn't. And so it was just a compromise, right? It's an artistic compromise. And I don't think it damages the film ultimately, but it's one of those things I think in the long run that I wish they're going to wish they had taken it out, but they didn't. So but other than that, I shouldn't even focus on that because it's a great movie.
Well, I don't have to put that in there if you don't.
No, you don't have to. Oh yeah, I watch It's a Wonderful Life, if not every year, almost every year. And I like a lot of I like the Santa Claus, and I like, Home Alone, and all these sort of Christmas movies, but they have nothing to do with Christmas. And I'm offended by a lot of the other movies that do have things that, like Elf. Just some of these movies just sort of turn me off because I think they send the wrong message. And it's not about Santa Claus and reindeers. It's about Christ with us. And that's the beauty of this film. It centers on, is Christ alive in the world today? And is he alive in our lives? And if he is, what does that call you to be and to do? I'm deluged with films.
Are you? Okay.
We get films all the time. Ever since I took the helm and everyone knew that we were out there doing this, we have been overrun with ideas, with treatments, with scripts, with finished and rough cut movies. Folks who want us to either help produce the movies or help distribute the movies. And we're going to be very, very picky about what we do. We're going to be producing some of our own. Some have already been produced before I got there. And most of them will probably not go to the theaters now because I just don't think they're the quality that I want to see. And it's going to be it's going to be hard because if it's just budgets and ideas, then every movie would be a success, right? But they aren't. There's a reason some fail, some don't, and the reason some go straight to DVD or go to TV or go to, and so we're gonna have to work through that too. And I'd like to say that we're gonna produce, winner after winner after winner, but nobody does. But we're gonna do our best to make sure that at least the quality is high, the storytelling is good, the faith is authentic, and we'll go from there. Oh yes. When I first saw the movie, the whole family was around. No, I shouldn't say the whole family because we had kids off in college, and so the kids that were home watched it, and they all liked it. And it's funny, by mistake, the studio sent the rough cut yesterday to Philadelphia for the screening. So instead of seeing what the folks here in Pittsburgh are going to see, which is a beautiful movie, they saw a movie with half the music laid in. It was synthesized music. A lot of the, some of the not so great edits and things like that. A lot of the what's called ADRs, which are voiceovers that fill in plot lines, they weren't there. And so I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. And so I didn't say anything until the end, but watching it there and thinking, wow, this movie's twice as good as that movie. And so my kids haven't seen the good movie yet. So they like this movie, they're gonna love the other movie.
Good.
They're gonna love this new movie. Well, I don't think there's any shortage of people now. I think there was for a long time a shortage of people who even got into it. I think that's changing. So I think I'm here at the exact right time. For a long time, they weren't funded, and most Christians just didn't get involved in the arts. I mean, they just sort of stayed away from it. And that's changing. There's no doubt about it, it's changing. But we're in its infancy, and so we're seeing a lot of product, but a lot of it isn't very good. And that can actually be damaging because you have a lot of folks going to churches. Here we are at a church in North Hills. I guarantee if you went to the pastor here at this church and asked him how many DVDs and how many movies he gets sent, I bet he gets one a day. Now that's a good thing because there's a lot more people producing things, but most of it is lower budgets, lower quality, and so it makes it harder for when you have a really good film to come along for people to rally around because they're sort of tired out. They just sort of say, we don't want. So we're going through that, but that's a growing phase problem. It's not an ultimate problem. The industry, the faith industry, will mature. It will get better. People will get experience. I'm going to do a better job marketing my next movie than I did this movie, and I'm going to do a better job in looking for production value for the next movie than I did the previous one. We're all going through that, and I'm excited about the fact that there's a buzz and there's an energy around, and money beginning to come into, and that's important. Everyone says, "Are you a ministry? Are you a nonprofit?" No, I am not. I am in the business of making money, and I want to make a lot of money so I can make bigger and more and better films, and that I can encourage other people to invest, that I can encourage other people to start new businesses to compete against me. I want competition. I hope there are good film after good films, and I'm getting pushed to television because there's just so many good faith-oriented films out there that they're beating me sometimes. If that's what you're called to do, do it. And I mean, I ran for president of the United States when nobody in their right mind would have even thought about doing something like that, because I just felt that's what I was called to do. And it wasn't because I was called to win. And you know what? You may fail in your business. You may fail in your first job or second job. But continue to do what you feel you're called to do, and God will put you where you're supposed to be. And you may say, well, it's hard, or being in Hollywood as a conservative, or being in the news media conservative, they're gonna probably not give you the best assignments, or they're not gonna do this. And blessed are the persecuted. That's the way you got to look at it. I mean, God said, He saved us for the last in the Beatitudes. Blessed are those persecuted. I mean, that's why I hold on to that. That throughout the Bible, He says, they will hate you because of me. You will be persecuted because of me. Well, this has a potential. The Christmas Candle has a potential of being a breakthrough film. But we're only opening up on 400 screens. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of screens. But it's only 2 screens here in the Pittsburgh area. We're going to be at the waterfront, at the AMC, and we're going to be out at Pittsburgh Mills. But those theaters need to be filled this weekend. And if they're filled this weekend, then we can get into more theaters in Pittsburgh. But not just that, we can get in theaters all over this country. There are 7 or 8 states that we are not in. Some of them are small, but some of them aren't because, well, like Massachusetts, we're not in a single theater in Massachusetts. Well, because they don't go to really movies like this, but they need to have the opportunity to go. And if this movie is a hit and is a lot of buzz, then people will want to go. And that's what we want. So we need folks who say, well, there's nothing I can do. The country's going, downhill. And well, reach in your pocket, pull out $20. Take a couple of folks, you and your husband or your wife to the movie, or if you can and you can afford it, bring the whole family and call your friends and get a whole group and go this weekend. Fill every theater. There are 4 or 5 showings every day at those theaters. And if we pack that out all across the country, this movie will go not just to 400, it'll go to 4,000. I mean, that's where The Hunger Games is, which comes out this weekend too. And that's the other thing. We're competing against the biggest movie of the year, the movie that has the most screens of any movie that's opening this year. And when they told us that, they said, you don't want to go out November 22nd. And they told us why. And I thought, and we thought about it, we prayed about it. We said, no, that's exactly the day we need to go out. We need to go out against the biggest and the best and show that this movie is real. And because we need to take this movie out at Christmas time. We can't take it out too late for nobody to see it. We can't take it out too early for Christmas. And so weekend before Thanksgiving is the right time to take this movie out. And so we just need the people of faith to not be discouraged. And I guarantee you, you will love this movie. And I ask you that if you do, go back and bring a whole bunch of new people and see it again, and let folks know that we can fight back and we can be inspired and uplifted by film. It's not a matter of being troubled. It's a matter of actually being inspired and hopeful. And the country needs hope. The country needs to be inspired and feel like they have an opportunity to do something to move the needle. And what we're doing with this film is giving you a blessing, because you watch this film, you'll be blessed by it. but it's an opportunity for you to bless others. And it's an opportunity for you to move the needle by doing so. We had a woman in Oklahoma City at our first screening. I wasn't there, but the associate producer, Candace Lee, said to me that they showed the film and they were taking questions afterwards, and a woman sort of sheepishly got up and said, I don't know why I was invited to this film, because I'm not a religious person. But she said, after watching this film, I don't want to go another day without faith. And at that moment, a pastor came down and talked to her, and she accepted Christ, and life has changed. This film can have the ability, I have no doubt this film, because it's a Christmas film. People, even if they're Creasters, people go to church on Christmas and Easter, even if they're a Creaster, they want to take their kids to a Christmas movie. They want them to experience something, and it's PG. It's a PG film. You can take any kid. And so hopefully we're going to reach people who aren't showing up in the pews on Sunday and have an impact on their life.